Well, we're back. Everybody is crossing the line. Let me also try. You know, that's how we get a. That's right. What a man can do, a man can do.
Are you okay, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, malaria. I just had malaria, so you know, you as if you're
so
okay.
You're not
you're
so
not
correct.
Okay. Yeah,
we should get an ambulance on standby, people.
Oh no. We only have ambulance. We have only 55 in Ghana.
Ambulances are more rare than gold.
We can call for one ahead.
Yeah, we have only 55. So if one is here, it means there will be left with 54. What about the other?
We can't be doing that. Rather, let's get a V8.
V8.
That won't be hard to find.
There are more than enough of those.
Good morning, Kojo.
Yeah.
Good
morning to you both. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
You look too.
Oh, you're very kind.
Roland found night walk.
Okay. I thought you were going for a meeting. The first time I saw you, I said, wow.
I'm coming to meet you guys.
Yeah, but that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of our conversations this morning is the fact that there is a temporary ban on travels. On travels. But there are lots of questions to ask. So first of all, why are we here? How temporary is this temporary ban? What's the limit? You know, what can MMDCEs, heads of state institutions, ministers, deputy ministers, what are they expected to do within this time when they are not allowed to do a lot of travels? It's not like a permanent ban, so I guess there will be room for some travels. So could you answer, you've got that interview, that conversation for us with one of the deputy.
One of the
yes, chief of staffs.
Okay.
And I'm wondering whether the ban affects him. Actually, it doesn't say so. It says it's the ministers and the deputies, and then the appointed MMDCs. Yes. So I guess Jubilee House members can still.
But it will be a good question to ask.
It certainly will, amongst many others. You know, we want to know what the reason is. Is it to do with cost? The statement makes a suggestion that it's actually mainly to make sure that they are here to pursue the government's local agenda.
Yeah.
That's the main objective.
Well, that is the one that is mentioned in the letter.
But curiously, we know that the appointees of government, who are also expected to be here and make sure the machinery of government works, also include heads of various state enterprises.
Yes.
So they are not affected, I believe.
No, they are.
They are?
Yes.
So let's say the DG or acting DG of GAPOA, for example, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority,
has been grounded until further notice. Yes, and that, I don't know whether it's just travel by air
VRA
or whether by ship also is included.
No. I think it's more by boundary, if you know that you're going beyond the shores of Ghana. So you can't go to Togo, Lomé.
Not without clearance.
Benin, just here.
We're going to read that entire statement in the course of our review this morning, and then we'll bring you that conversation. But we've also got the National Science and Maths quiz. On Wednesday, we'll be done with a 1/8 contest. That's where we are, and then we'll be getting into the quarterfinals. That's where, you know, when they knock you out, like you're out like that. So we'll be hooking up with our colleagues Maxwell Agbagba and Nancy Emefajradosi on the ground this morning, live from the University of Ghana, Legon, and our coverage is certainly brought to you courtesy Kingdom Books and Stationery, Newmont's Gold Ghana, and then of course Easeway Savings and Loans. And we've got our agenda this morning coming your way, so we've got a lot of conversations in between right here. But let's get into the newspapers, guys.
Why don't we? Shall we start with the Finder this morning?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so headlines. President slams NDC for deliberately sabotaging Ghana card. That's the banner headline. And then there are others. GWCL, Ghana Water Company, increases revenue collection by 14.6% in 3 months. Also about Ghana Water Company, the MD rejects calls from staff to remove board chairman. How would the MD remove? Anyway, these are things we can learn from the story, right? Also, government bans cough syrups containing codeine, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But why don't we start with the president? On page 2 are the details. President Nana Akufo-Addo has described as unfortunate the boycott of Ghana card by the leaders of the NDC minority in parliament, who he said are deliberately sabotaging the process. Now, he says a lot, but I want to give you a few of the things he mentioned. He first said, I had hoped that the exercise to provide all citizens with a national identity card would receive the enthusiastic support from all of us at the project as the project finally gets off the ground after years of willful stagnation and neglect. And then he goes on, he said that the story says that the minority had during the debate on the National Identification Register Amendment Bill accepted without dissent the report of Parliament's Select Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, which did away with the use of voters' identity cards. This is what the whole debate has been about. The minority suggest that the voter ID card must be an acceptable identification for the national ID card. And the president says, well, unfortunately, we seem to have become embroiled once again in another of those full-scale manufactured storms, deliberately engineered to slow down progress in everything we try to do. Then he gives a final uppercut. If we as a people had been conducting our affairs properly throughout the years, there should not be any argument in determining who is a Ghanaian, right? So I guess, you know, in not so many words, what the president is saying is that, well, minority, that's kind of rich coming from you. You know, suddenly raising last-minute reasons why this thing can't happen. If you had done it in the 12 or 13 years prior, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. So you didn't do it. Someone is trying to do it now. And you are raising objections, first of all, at the wrong time. It's not like Parliament, you are being informed after the fact that this is how it's going to be done. You decided how it's going to be done. You, Parliament.
But shouldn't the president, who the president for, be rather accommodating or be receptive to all divergent opinions?
Shouldn't Parliament have decided their divergent opinions? There was a time when it was all up to them. It was all up to Parliament.
True. It doesn't still leave the space for not divulging, or echoing divergent views, I believe.
I think it does remove the opportunity to echo divergent views. We have to be a disciplined people. When we are given responsibility, we have to either take it or not come chasing after it when someone else has it. You know, so I think they've lost their opportunity. No one should encourage them, either majority or minority, to attempt to redo what they had a chance to do once. You know, and to be honest, how do the people of Ghana feel about it? That to me is the ultimate. After they've knocked their heads together, in the end it should be the people of Ghana who decide how they want this thing to be done. And not because Parliament says it's being done wrong, but because we as a people, these laws are made for us, right?
At the end of the day, the thing is, we need to make sure we have this exercise underway. And whether with a voter ID card or not, people would have to go justify why they need to be included on that database.
That's true.
That's the most important thing.
Who is a Ghanaian, eh? All right, very quickly on this cough syrup story. The others you can read the details about. But I do want to share a little bit of this on page 5 because I think it's important. We've been concerned about the abuse of some of these prescription drugs for a while, and now the Ministry of Health has ordered the Food and Drugs Authority to suspend with immediate effect the registration, importation and manufacturing of cough syrups containing codeine. The Health Minister explained that all dosage of codeine registered by the FDA shall hence be reclassified as controlled drugs, meaning it shall be under lock and key, and their distribution and use in Ghana treated as prescription-only medicines. Now, it is the next bit that disturbs me. The ministry has also directed the FDA and the Pharmacy Council to enforce the requirements for the distribution of tramadol and tramadol-containing products as prescription-only drugs and controlled medicine. You know what that tells me? Tramadol all this time has been a prescription-only controlled medicine. It didn't work. So if you now do the same for codeine-containing cough syrup, will it work? If we are having to instruct, yes, absolutely.
And,
if we are having to instruct,
and even if we enforce the regulations and we say that that should be a prescription, or the other ones also should be on the list of prescription drugs, and they become inaccessible, they'll go on to the next one that gives them the high.
Indeed.
And there are a number of them, a plethora of them, that that are not on that prescription list, so
Absolutely.
to speak.
You've really nailed it.
That's a point.
We've failed to enforce.
Yeah.
You know, and we are instructing those responsible to enforce.
Yeah.
And while we are doing that, we are adding other drugs to the list that needs to be enforced. When the original list is not, we are failing to enforce the original list in the first place.
It's always a case of us not tackling the root or the cause of the problem at the roots. Can we do the daily graphic?
All right, front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. President slams minority for stance on national ID. I think Kojo Singh brought us details. That story is also in the final newspaper of today. NLA takes over VAC lottery. Single window saves Ghana $500 million in 2 years, according to a UGBS report. So on the front page of the paper, you'd see Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim Awal, the Minister of Business Development, launching the University of Ghana Business School report. Also, 46 companies, individuals honored. McDan Shipping Company wins 3 awards. And the boss at McDan, Dan Macaulay, is on the front page of today's paper. But let's go to page 75. I want a bit of understanding of the story. NLA takes over VAC lottery. Story says the Veteran Administration of Ghana has ceded its power to conduct and regulate VAC lottery to the National Lottery Authority. The move has made the NLA the sole regulator of lottery activities in the country. In a collaborative agreement signed between the two institutions on June 19, the NLA now holds the power to manage VAC lottery and any activity of VAC as far as lottery is concerned. So in turn, the NLA is required to give VAC an amount of 120,000 Ghana cedis every month within the span of the agreement to support its activities. You can read on the rest of the story by Daniel Ofosu Jamina in Accra. But just above this story, also on page 75, is this one. Iyoko warns bank staff against financial malfeasance. And it says the executive director of the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, KK Amwa, has advised board of directors and management executives of financial institutions to perform their duties diligently to avoid being hauled before the anti-graft body over financial malfeasance. So should any staff trespass in his or her operations leading to an appearance at Iyoko, Ms. Amwa said his outfit will not hesitate to apply the law to the letter to serve as a deterrent to others. So you might want to know why he's saying that. Really, I'll leave the rest of it for you to feast on if you like. But center spread of the paper, Upper East children benefit from seasonal malaria chemotherapy. That's it's, you know, like a story in pictures. Really, really, really nice there in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper today. But on the back page of the paper, sports, Senegal split points with Japan. And here's me, like all the international media, they're picking the fact that they are rehearsing the kind of dance, the kind of choreography after a goal. And I'm thinking, are they learning more of a dance than training to score goals on the pitch?
I think those things are extremely important for teams.
Really?
Yes,
Is
absolutely.
it?
But first of all, you have to understand, no team will train 24 hours a day. As long as you understand that, you shouldn't feel too bad about the fact that they are spending some time still together practicing something. It builds team spirit, and no, you have to understand, it builds team spirit. It makes them closer together. It makes them understand each other better. And when you are able to relax together, you realize.
Are you a football fan?
I love football.
Okay, have you been following the performance of the African teams at the World Cup?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
so maybe they need to rehearse a few more dances.
No,
because
no, they rather need to play very well on the pitch.
Yes,
because if you watch the match, and indeed if you did watch, Senegal took the lead in it at 8-10,
and then lost the lead. Yes,
yeah, they got to
Japan
lose
was
the
a
lead
better
ultimately.
team. Yes.
No, forget about how the Japanese have always played the way they play, but have always not been clinical at goal. And if you know that you have the fortitude and the tenacity to be able to play at the World Cup, then you should do better.
What has that got to do with their dance?
No, I mean, it's irrelevant, knowing that as far as we are concerned as football people and the fans watching, ultimately you think that what is more important is getting a better dance at the end of each scoring
You are assuming
period.
they think that's what's more important.
Because ultimately they need to be giving us more fun than just dancing.
I'm saying it's not irrelevant. Yeah. It's not irrelevant.
The national dance ensemble of Ghana gives us better dances than what they are giving.
If they need better training, fair enough. But I don't think we can argue that the time they spend rehearsing their dance is wasted. You don't know when they do it. You don't know whether
I want them to win. I don't care how they jubilate when they score a goal. I just want them to win. You know, when they just
win.
Exactly. It kind of irritates me when I see them rehearsing that dance. Like, you know,
their fans, the people of Senegal, care. They love it. They dance along. It gets them into the spirit. We all love it.
But from 1990, when Roger Miller,
when you're dancing like that, yeah, then I'll roll with you. But not when you're not.
Even if they're
winning.
Even if they're losing, I'm grateful for something to cheer me up.
Well,
I know, right?
Okay, so the other matches on the back. Listen, we knew England, you know, like.
Was going to get out of the group.
Like a spoiled child, kind of. Like the performance overrated. Everybody forgets about the fact that they were playing Panama. First time appearance. I don't know. How did they get there, Panama?
My England alone.
They qualified.
The real test for England, though,
ask that question again. How did they get there? Ask it again.
Qualified.
How did they get there? By doing what Ghana couldn't do.
And they kicked the USA out. They made it impossible for the USA to get there.
But they play good football. The thing is, they play
Charlie
good football with the Latin American style.
You know what I really didn't understand? I was so confused. And I realized, listen, maybe I've been crying for them wrongly. When they scored one, actually the people score you 5. You score 1 and you are celebrating.
No,
of
but
course,
the thing was,
it's history for them.
It's their first
ever World Cup goal.
So,
scored by their football hero.
They had finished them 5 at the time.
Look, I don't think they came in with. I don't think
so much expectation.
Listen, I don't think they came in with the expectation that they'll be beaten by 6 goals.
Just defend and go
I don't
away.
think they came with that expectation. But you know what? It was history making for them. You know, and the moment means so much more to them than it means to you and I.
Really?
Absolutely.
6-1.
Try and remember our first game in the World Cup. Did we win it?
No, but was it 6-1?
You see,
These are
the things that concern you.
Panama. They would have spelled England.
Maybe next time.
Okay, so that's it for the Daily Graphic newspaper. It's a bit heavy. There are a lot more stories in the paper, so you can go and grab.
Another hat trick, though. Let's not forget that.
Read. What's a hat trick? What the third goal did? What did he do?
Where's your hat trick?
He directed the ball.
Is it your hat trick?
I don't know. I'm just looking for Belgium, England. That's actually like the test match for England, not this Panama game. Like they're making so much noise.
Belgium, England, either of them could win or draw. I don't think there's going to be any loser in the match.
No, I get it, but I'm saying that that's a game that would test England.
Let's see how it goes.
Hey, England haters will come.
We have the Daily Guide, and on the front page we have stories we've seen already. Ministers, DC is banned from foreign trips. Nana Blas NDC over Ghana card boycott. And then we have chaos rocks NDC elections, and we know that they had their local level elections within the period over the weekend. But let's look at no merit in allegations against the board chair. That is the Ghana Water MD, and I know that Kujo Yankson wanted to raise whether the MD had any authority to indicate to any member of the public whether the board chair was in good stead or not. So too, I think the workers of the company in that same direction, because we know who appoints the board chair of the company. Anyway, let's move on. Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited says the calls for the removal of the board chairman. We know he's the Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Fenyo Markin, by section of the workers, is baseless and without merit. The workers, though, haven't come back to apologize yet, unlike the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We hope they won't. Let's look at other mundane stories. The chairman of the MPP in the Upper East, or chairman of the MPP in the Upper East, Upper West regions, they say they are throwing their supports behind the incumbent chairman, who is also running for the chairmanship of the party, Freddie Blay, and The Upper East Regional Chairman, who is a lawyer, also read a statement on behalf of his colleagues saying that altogether, every member of the party contributed to the victory in 2016. Mr. Blay, who was captain at the time, played a crucial role than all the others, all the other contesting chairmen, so aspiring chairman. So he needs to be given the nod to remain at post. A+, though, this one has been gaining some traction over the period, I believe over the last 1 week. A+ dodges Ursula and court orders Facebook service. An Accra High Court Labour Division has granted an application by lawyers for Communications Minister Ursula Owusu-Ekufo to serve controversial musician A+ with the defamation suit brought against him on Facebook. And we know this was after the lawyer for the minister had tried incessantly without success to locate the whereabouts of the musician to serve him. So now he's going to be served on Facebook, and since then he's been on Facebook also talking a lot, saying that he wants to be served. He's waiting for the service. Posting
some private communication with
yeah, one Rodney Nkrumah questioning
one supposedly with lawyer for Esla.
So we have other things also to look at.
Okay.
As far as the interaction is with on the Facebook page of A+. And then we have the last one we have to look at is on page 10 of the Daily Guide. It's government reacting to the U.S. visa ban threats, and it says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has reacted to recent threats by the United States government to slap visa restrictions on Ghana. And we know that altogether we have about 7,000 Ghanaians expected to return home. I'm sure there are more others there as well. But the interesting bit about what the revelations are is that Ghana is a fifth in terms of the countries numbered from ascending order as to the number of refugees or people who are living in those countries without...
Refugees?
Yeah.
Or you mean immigrants?
Well, you need to have a certain status to be an immigrant.
So refugees? Because refugees too, there's a technical definition for it, and I don't think it should apply to any citizen of Ghana at the moment.
So any citizen of Ghana in the United States without the requisite papers is...
illegal immigrant.
Okay, so the technical phrase now will be illegal immigrant. 7,000.
I think the other concern is and I'm beginning to think along those lines. So these persons have no documentation. Without that interview by our mission, we would not know for sure if they are indeed Ghanaians. That's also one of the issues coming up, because if you just they have no documentation based on your own interview, you say they are Ghanaians, and so you bring them back to Ghana. But our mission, our embassy will not grant them any interviews to ascertain whether or not this is actually factual.
Well, I don't know if it's that our embassy is not granting them interviews.
Well, per the release, we're not doing our bit. We're supposed to be interviewing.
That's per the Americans.
Yes.
Ghanaians have responded.
Have they responded?
Yes, they have. Okay. What they are saying is that we have to speak to each of them and do due diligence and convince ourselves as a nation.
Okay, so what is stopping us?
That they are Ghanaians.
What is stopping us?
They are doing it.
How?
And they are not being convinced.
Have you listened to the ambassador?
The ambassador says it is based on what
they're not going to commit themselves to be doing that, because that would mean that they are endorsing their own citizens who have been found after those interactive processes.
Actually, what he said was that they need to be sure that each of these people, one is a Ghanaian and two has been taken through the proper processes.
But that's what the Americans wanted.
That's right.
So he should go ahead and do that.
What the ambassador
7,000.
What the ambassador is saying is that they are not convinced that all of these 7,000 are Ghanaians. Okay? They haven't spoken to all of them, but already from the process they are undergoing, they are certain that not all of them are Ghanaian. And that needs to be resolved first before they then go to the second question of whether they've been taken through the correct processes.
That's what we need them to do. But they shouldn't wait for the other party. This is home. We are Ghanaians.
Yeah, but
he should be communicating with us first.
But if he says he has not been able to independently verify that this man is a Ghanaian, what do you want him to do? I mean, he can't verify. So
why
does he
is
do?
it? My headache is why is the reaction coming after the U.S. issued a statement?
Because as far as we were concerned, there was no problem. We are trying to go through these 7,000 people.
There had always been. You see, that's why
find
you
out
have to.
whether they are Ghanaians.
That's why you have to consistently communicate.
Our own Elton Brobe first spoke to the ambassador to the United States of America, and he indicated he was not going to be the ambassador that will be the one giving that initial signature for them to be sent to Ghana.
But there's a reason.
No, yeah. Listen, then the Americans, they've been going through all this back and forth process. Then they had to be forced to come public on the subject, and following the government is saying now they have to interact with these so-called citizens of Ghana who are illegal immigrants in the United States to ascertain whether they are citizens or not.
Roland.
No, now the thing is, did we have to get to where we have to, or we are currently before we take the action? No.
Okay, so Roland, these processes have existed for a long time.
That what?
It's not because of the statement that Ghana now has to go in.
My point is, have we ever done it? Have we ever done it before?
That's a question.
Have we ever done it before? So why would we want to believe them now?
No, that is a good question. But
we haven't ever done it before, so who would I believe?
That. You don't know whether we've done it before or not.
We haven't done it. Because for a long time, we've breached that convention right there.
I didn't even know anything like that existed. People who are having our passport, etc., who necessarily
anyway, we don't want to spend the whole time on this.
That's true, but without revealing everything, let's just take it for a fact that this process has existed for a long time. It's not new.
Yeah.
And
it's not new.
What is required of...
Bakojo, see, not to cut you, for a long time, we've only seen people put on a chartered flight to Ghana. True or false?
True.
Do you know why? The reason why they keep putting them on...
Because we don't want to take responsibility.
The reason why they keep putting people on a chartered flight is because Ghana has not determined that those people they are sending to Ghana are Ghanaians.
We're talking about the same thing.
The only thing
why haven't we done it?
And that is the question.
Have
we done it or not?
Let's do the Daily Dispatch. On the front page, stopping of Anna's video. Baku.
We want people to be treated.
Baku confirms bribery attempt. We're doing Daily Dispatch now. It's on the back page. The story we're talking about, back page, full story.
I'll show you something.
Judges appeal to Akufo-Addo, increase salaries by next month or else. We just have this back and forth, etc., about the judiciary, the judges, and all the emoluments that they feel they need to be paid and are not getting.
You sound like you disagree.
Mine workers on the judges?
Yeah. Should they be getting more?
I think they should be.
Absolutely.
I think they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine workers.
I think the painful thing is because of where they sit, they are not. They can't individually speak.
Yeah. Mine workers on the $29 million US tax waiver for Anglo Gold. And those basically are the stories, but back page. It says US visa restriction. We're not threatening Ghana, ambassador. The story will just not go away. We know we've responded, but we just have to move on. MTN freezes 11 million Ghana CD wallet of Savannah Brokerage Investments. We're told that it's a Ponzi scheme, and if you read the story, you'll get to know a number of all these things that we do peer-to-peer and all. Some people have experiences of losses. But do you have any other paper you want to look at?
I know the Ghanaian Times. Government has no interest in Ghana card. That's what the president is saying. Single window saves government $200 million US annually. That's according to a University of Ghana Business School report. One village, one dam kickstarts in Bongo. Wow. A year and a half into the presidency.
I think there are some villages that are witnessing this.
They've built their first dam in Bongo.
It's kick-started, so they are now starting.
Yes.
Kick-started.
So perhaps they haven't even
now breaking ground. You know the way we do the sword.
So they have cut sword for a dam.
So it just kick-started. It's a good. It's a good initiative.
All the things that you guys are saying, is that what the story says?
Kick-starting. One village, one dam kick-starts. You want to hear what the story says, Mama V? Okay, I'll read it for you. One of the government's top priority projects, One Village, One Dam, has kick-started earnestly in Bongo district of the Upper East region. The district chief executive for the area, Peter Anyimbisa Ayamga, and the paramount chief of the Bongo traditional area, Naba Baba Salifu Limarum, performed the groundbreaking ceremony
So you
on
guys
Friday at Kuyelingu, which is one of the beneficiaries.
We're waiting for the commissioning.
Yeah. You see, I have a certain view. I don't know if you guys will agree, but I think any project that has not been completed and handed over should not make the news. If you are breaking ground, you are in process, you are in I don't think you should bother the people of Ghana with that information. It is useless. That's my view. I could be, I mean, I'm happy to be contradicted.
Editorial discretion.
Yeah, I'm happy to be contradicted. But I actually think that you are not giving your listeners or viewers or readers information. If you say they've kickstarted something.
But did it happen? Did some activity happen? Did some events happen?
The sun came up this morning. Should we tell people about it?
If it's important.
But is it important that they've started a project compared to the reality of projects that are started and never finish?
But that's the only way you also track.
I think I disagree with you.
You also track.
I disagree with you.
That's the only way you kind of track things that government has said they would do that they've started doing.
I believe.
Otherwise, how would you know?
I believe that as the media, our job is to track and ensure that it is on course and announce when it is completed. That's what I think.
But not when they're about starting?
I don't see how useful that is to the people of Ghana. We start projects all the time. Not all of them get finished.
Well,
so if we're telling people we started this,
I agree about us starting projects all the time. But we need to tell the people that this project started.
Exactly. That's the only way. I mean,
I don't know how useful that information is to me.
2 months later, you can make reference to the paper and said that this is what you guys did at this specific time. But we haven't seen.
We haven't seen government.
I mean,
it's because we have a precedent of not getting these things right. That's why. But
I kind of appreciate where you're coming from, but I also feel that it's important that we make the record because we can always point to this and say, oh, but you did this. We haven't seen the projects.
Okay.
We haven't seen its bear fruits.
Let's
what
hope
happened
that
to
this is one of the projects we will never have to have.
I know where you're coming from because you're saying that we just make all the fanfare about it. And then somebody gains traction and the public opinion is up. And definitely we never see the end.
I know. But if we also did that, then it means that we will become a people who don't have hope.
Not necessarily. I think what it might do, possibly, is it might cause authorities to pursue the completion if they want to make the news.
So,
if
for
they
example,
want the credit,
when they call or bring some paper for invitation of invitation to come and cover, we say we're not covering.
Tell them thank you for inviting us. We would love to come to the handover.
I want to see you. I want to see you as like an editor of a media house. See you make those decisions.
I doubt any media house will make that decision.
Let's see how influential you will be when it comes to having those forces around you who will need that covered.
In the end,
the forces who will make sure that you have to cover this.
In the end, politics wins, right?
Not always, not always. But we've spent a lot of time already. We've passed the 7 a.m. mark, so we have to run through the rest real quick.
Did we talk about the government appointees who have been banned from foreign travel? Yes? Okay, good. Yeah.
We'll continue that conversation when you're out a bit later this morning. The public agenda front page, government deepens woes of mining communities as it denies their mineral development funds. Ghana's love affair with e-cigarettes. So apparently, we're going to e-cigarettes, and there's an NGO that's drawing government's attention, and I guess all of us, the young people, are now going that direction.
That's what they're taking now.
Yeah, Ghana
I thought they said the e-cigarettes were
so they're calling for a ban. They're calling for a ban. Really, Ghana must work to improve ranking. Yeah, they mention all that in the story. Ghana must work to improve ranking on Corruption Perception Index. We'll begin our own corruption series. It's called the Corruption Scoreboard here on the AM show, so just watch out for that. CSOs demand clarity on sustainable funding for HIV prevention. So here's the statement that's been issued by government on this temporary travels by ministers, deputy ministers, and MMDCs. We'll share that with you on the screen in a bit, but let's read some of your messages and then we'll go online to myjoyonline.com. We'll bring you a bit of international news. Zimbabwe in the news over the weekend, and Turkey, they've just finished an election. And okay, so let's start really with that statement issued by government. It's on your screen right now. We'll have a follow-up conversation on this morning with Kojo Yankson. But it says the President of the Republic has directed that all foreign travels by honorable ministers, deputy ministers, MMDCEs, and heads of government agencies be temporarily suspended with immediate effect. Guidelines in respect of future foreign travels aimed at minimizing disruption to government's domestic work will be communicated to you shortly. The Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is, however, exempted from this temporary ban on foreign travels. Please acknowledge receipts and accept for strict compliance. It's signed by Akosua Frema Osei Opare, Chief of Staff, and it's from the Office of the President, of course, copied to all the persons concerned. So we've got a follow-up conversation this morning. This one says, happy to see you, watching Roland, watching you from Port Gentil, Gabon. May God be with you.
Yeah.
Kindly include your name when you send us.
That's Benedict Osu's friend.
I know people will take me on. This one says, England is not going anywhere. Support Belgium and France. Hussein from Western region in Pristina.
My teams for the World Cup, Brazil first and England is second.
This one says the president's move to place restrictions on all travels for his appointees was a really good move. Hello, Mr. Kojo, you look great on TV, but we miss you on the radio. This one sending this. Read your name when you send us messages. This one says, good morning to you and your team. Please, your Messi is struggling. African teams are just mentally weak on the world stage.
True.
Forget England. They will be home soon from Shadow in Dabuasi.
That's not true. Shadow, that's not true.
This one says, the cost of Ghana card is too much, Mr. President. The minority took the right decision on this matter. The president doesn't have sympathy for the people. It will cost each person 1,800 cedis. Your administration, Tanko Abubakar in Shukura. I guess your message, has, come through. This one says, please, you guys push Mama V to the middle. And Kojo, I'm warning you not to allow her bully Rolando. I know she fears you and will not dare you. As for Roland, please protect him for us. Hey, Benghazi in a simple suit.
These people don't know Roland.
Yeah, Roland corners everybody. This one says, Roland, we thank God you're back on your feet. May you not fall sick again in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Diku revive from Adidomo. It's like a prophecy right there. Thank you for this message. This one says, for a man to be great on the side of God and man, let him be careful of what he eats and feeds his family. With Bambakia Samed. Yeah, it's been a very long while since we read your message. This one says, welcome back, Roland. Shafa from Tamale. Let's go online because Benedict is right on standby. So quickly, we want to run through myjoyonline.com, guys. Okay, no, we're not going to myjoyonline because we have the Zimbabwe story that we want to share with you. It's not one that I can laugh about. Almost, the president could have been involved in this. The vice president's wife, all injured in this attack. So here we go with what happened over the weekend in Zimbabwe. This is incredible. It's amazing that the president survived this. He says this is not the first time that somebody has tried to kill him in this manner. But we know that the vice president was injured. The vice president's wife, a couple of other people were injured as well in that attack. But just about 45 minutes after this incident, the president visited the injured at the hospital. That's like a really strong man. You know how they call him? He's the crocodile. the president of Zimbabwe. They've got elections in July. Hopefully this does not affect that elections. What we know in the past is usually after some of these events, we will see arrests, particularly of persons in opposition. So we're monitoring the situation in Zimbabwe, but let's cross over and go to Turkey. There were elections in Turkey as well, and a man who's been first as prime minister and then also president for 16 years. He's won another 5-year term in office. The conversation goes back and forth. So that's the situation with Turkey. Turkey's long-standing leader, Tayyip Erdogan, has won a new 5-year term after securing outright victory in the first round of a presidential poll. Election authority said the president received the absolute majority of all valid votes. State media puts Mr. Erdogan on 53% with 99% of votes counted, and his closest rival on 31%. So the opposition is yet to officially concede, but said it will continue its democratic fight, quotes, whatever the results on quotes.
He's also a survivor of an assassination attempt.
A couple of them, actually.
Yes, and the last
there was even a coup.
Indeed.
That was tried. It was a Rambo-style coup.
Indeed, and that coup really changed his attitude as president. You know, he became even more ruthless, if you can imagine.
But it is interesting knowing that Turkey, as far as their elections, especially this election, is one of the few countries in the world that has a voter turnout of over 80%. Usually doesn't happen. This one is 83% also.
I wonder how much we can rely on that.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the other things is that he's going to get on new powers. That's what other people fear.
Yeah.
But I always
the fear is also
say,
that he's going to make the parliament just a rubber stamp one.
I always say, even as we review international news, I am always a bit cautious, because what we are fed is what the Western media gives us. And it may not always be the true representation, you know, of what's happening.
What is in the country.
It may be one-sided, and we just flow with it.
Turkey is the West, right? Or they're trying to be the West. Part of it.
Just before Benedict comes in, you know, I listened to this story. I thought I would share. So a London court will consider later today if Uber is fit and proper to hold an operator license in the capital. The taxi app company will make its case in courts in a hearing expected to last several days. So last September, Transport for London refused to renew Uber's license on grounds of public safety and security.
You see, this is the beauty of accountability. Where it works beautifully.
Yeah.
So Transport for London has been given a responsibility of licensing, ensuring that anybody who operates as a carrier, a public carrier, meets certain criteria. And it's not just about meeting criteria, but they have to be able to check. There has to be the ability to check that you are safe. Yeah. But Uber runs a system which is arm's length in relation to those who are driving the cars. And so when they try to check certain things, when Transport for London tries to check certain things, they find that Uber cannot guarantee safety beyond a certain point. And so in the interest of the people, in spite of the fact that Uber works so well around the world in so many cities, it's such a, it's a mainstay now of transportation in all the major cities of the world. In spite of that, just because there isn't a route to check safety, they are not relying on the stellar reputation or anything. No, they don't take your word for it. They must be able to check. And because that is not happening, we now have this court case. That's accountability. It's not that we don't trust you, but we must verify.
All right, okay, so there will be more. You can always go to my joyonline.com for updates. But Akwesi Dankwa has been on standby for a while now. Apologies, Benedict. We've taken a bit of your time.
That's fine, that's fine.
So, Charlie, let's not talk too much.
All right, so we'll come your way with the sports, but Kwesiata failed to win the viewers' choice.
Oh, yes.
Kwesiata, he plays football?
No, he doesn't play football.
What does he do?
Oh, my God.
You don't know Kwesiata, Roland?
No, who is he?
Okay, let's take a break. When we come, we'll tell you about Kwesiata.